in Nigeria. There are people who are suffering genuinely. They are working so hard, but eating like paupers because they are being paid 30,000, 70,000 after working for one full month. Meanwhile, one person will just sit down there and loot. This story, I know it's like already old a bit, but I just decided to do it again because of the significance of the story. Now, it's a very good thing. It's like a big deal, but the fact that it will end up being a bigger deal if what they want to use this money to do in Nigeria is achieved, right? So the US government released a presser that they are, the press are returning the money laundered by former Nigerian Minister for Petroleum, Mrs. Diezani, Alison-Madueke. The money she looted and sent to the US and all of that. That some of the money they've been able to recover it, and they're going to transfer back to Nigeria. And the money is the sum of $52.88 million in forfeited corruption proceeds. Now, the government is saying that they are sending this back to Nigerian government, that the US government is saying they are sending it back to Nigeria because we are the victims of these looted funds. Because by the time these people loot this money, they deprive us of a lot of things. Good governance, good road, good electricity, quality education, good hospital amenities. These are the things that now $52 million, point something million dollars, right? In the hand of just one person. That money can build a hospital, can equip a school, can do a lot of things in a country where poverty is a problem there. The money that you didn't work for, our collective wealth, stolen. Now the government decided that they are bringing and they are working with the Nigerian government to make sure that these monies that they are returning will not be relooted, because every day we constantly hear, we can wake up whenever I see any story of Abacha, once I just see any story of Abacha, I just know that Nigeria will have received a lot. Maybe one of Abacha's loot is coming back. But if we want to start counting how many Abacha's loot that they've reported to have come back to this country, like the money, I'm sure, is more than some like 3, 4, 5 African countries put together their budget in a year. The monies that they've brought back all tagged Abacha's loot. And then I ask myself, all these monies that come back to the country, what have they done with them? Because if all the loots that are bringing from back that they are calling Abacha's loot, if truly they are coming to this country, we're not supposed to be in any form of economic problem financially. Because this money that I'm calling about, I'm just saying only Abacha. There are some other people that they said they've recovered looted funds from so many public officials. And then we're asking, where are all these monies? Are they being relooted? Because you can't trust some of these people, these government officials. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. Every day we hear that Abacha this came back, Abacha this, but we don't see nobody even give us any, they don't account for how those monies are spent when they get them back. We have stolen wealth in the US. We have stolen, looted funds in Swiss bank, all over the world. I don't know how these government of these countries will even, because sometimes it begs the question like, this government, somebody will just come to your country and heap money in your country and you will take it. If you are preaching transparency, you are preaching openness, that you don't do all those things, you don't like all these things that African leaders are doing, immediately that money hits your country. That money is too big for you not to notice that it just comes from nowhere. What did this person work to deposit this kind of money? You should flag that money immediately. But no, some of these countries, you will leave it there, you will use it to do business, and then you'll be calling Africa corrupt. Meanwhile, all these monies that African governments are looting from the continent, they're dropping it in Europe, in all these countries, all over. And these countries are receiving them. Because Alison-Madueke, when she was in government, she was in government during Dr. Billy Jonathan's time. That is more than 8 years ago. The money is just coming now. So that money has been in that country. And this is just a fraction of the many reports of the monies and the ones in jewelry, the ones in property, the ones in raw cash. It's like just people like the ones deposit, they use in buying yachts, they use in buying private jets. Like, it's not this ground all of us will die and enter one day. Can we, no matter how rich you are, can you sleep in 2 rooms at a time? There are people dying of starvation, dying of hunger in Nigeria. There are people who are suffering genuinely. They are working so hard, but eating like paupers because they are being paid 30,000, 70,000 after working for 1 full month. Meanwhile, one person will just sit down there and loot. We don't have money, but people are still saying to loot. Now, from what they said, these assets were forfeited as part of an investigation by the Kleptocracy Asset Recovery Initiative of International Unit of Criminal Division, Money Laundering, and Asset Recovery Section. Now, you see, according to the court document from 2011 to 2015, the people in all this saga, Diezani, Alison-Madueke, one Mr. Aluko, one Omokore, yes. The court document from 2011 to 2015. It said Nigerian businessman Kolawole Akoni Aluko, yes, and Olajide Omokare. Now these people conspired with others, can you imagine, to pay bribe to Nigeria's former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Diezani Alison-Madueke. Now they did this in return. Alison-Madueke used her influence to sell lucrative oil contracts to companies owned by Aluko and Omokore. Now proceeds from, this scheme of more than 100 million, like more than 100 million. That is what this Aluko and Omokore, they did. What did they use it to do? They used it to buy private jets in this American economy, to buy, flashy, luxurious yachts. And then proceeds from the scheme of more than 100 million, they laundered into and through the United States, used to purchase various assets. Like I said, real estate in California and New York, as well as this Galactical Star, a 65-meter super yacht. That's the type that Beyonce and Jay-Z, the celebrities, they all rent to, have a good time. These are of people's wealth, collective wealth of Nigerians. So that's why I'm really so happy that they are specifically taking these monies back. And the court, they are taking it back on the grounds that it's going to be used for rural electrification projects. That means areas in Nigeria where there is no electricity, they will use it too. That is what, like the 50 million of the $52.88 million, 50 million of it will be used for rural electrification and every other thing that is supposed to give Nigerians a good life, or a fairly good life, right? So the other $2-something million to be used for, for counter-terrorism fight. And so they specifically said here that 50 million of the recovery fund will be dedicated to an expansion of distributed access through renewable energy scale-up projects. an existing electrification project funded in part by the International Development Association and implemented by the Nigerian Rural Electrification Agency. Now, this program, like I said earlier, is intended to increase access to electricity service in Nigeria with renewable energy generation. Yes. Can you imagine if that is achieved? That's why when I started my this video from the beginning, I said this is supposed to be a good thing if these monies are put into this use, right? It's going to turn out well. It's going to help these areas. And once there is light, every other thing will fall into place. So that's why I'm saying I'm happy that this is coming, but maybe we should start asking the right questions about all the other ones that they've returned to Nigeria. The Abacha loot, the one that will come from Swiss, the one that will come from the UK, the ones that will come in terms of property. Where are these monies? What have they done with them? Nobody's asking these questions. Or are we asking and they are not responding because they obviously don't know where these monies are? Like, these things are just not, clear enough for us. Okay, let me go ahead. The remaining $2.88 million will be used towards Nigerians' contribution to International Institute of Justice and the rule of law. And also used to support capacity building for criminal justice sector practitioners and relevant stakeholders in the region, including through activities focused on countering and financing terrorism. So yeah, I'm so happy that this is coming, but this is just a fraction of what was reported that this woman looted. I don't know how some of these politicians, I don't know how they sleep at night, knowing that this wealth that we all have is not evenly distributed. People are hungry, people are starving, people are dying. And one person, like a fraction of the person's money, a fraction is $52.8 million. Hey, God. Sometimes I even want to read well to see whether it's million naira that I'm talking about. Dollars. Only one person. Just because you want to just private jet, you want to do this, you want to do. But your fellow human beings cannot even afford 1 meal in a day. 1 meal we can't afford. And just because you have access to, like as if nobody, is asking questions or nobody is looking at looting with both hands, with your mouth, with your eyes, with your hand, everything you're taking. But you see, countries like the US, Swiss, maybe you need to do more work. Let these monies, because once they loot these monies, they don't leave it in the system where they stole it. They take it to, most times, Europe, America, they lodge it all over the world. These governments of these countries can help Africans by immediately flagging them. Because once you flag them immediately, it's not a big deal. Just account for how you got this money. Okay, this is how, if they can show you how they got this money, fine. So that will save us years of leaving the money. Or is it that you people just leave the money so that you make interest out of it first before you start giving us the seed money and then the interest? Because this money is supposed to have yielded interest because it has been in this country since, if I'm not exaggerating, more than 8 years ago. More than. You see, we all need to do better. We all need to do better because this wealth is for everybody, not for the few. Now, because at the end of the day, we all just leave this world and there is nothing we're all taking. There's nothing we're all taking. So while we are here, let's all look out for one another. Let's all, let's care for one another. Let's not loot. Meanwhile, you even, let me not even say, even if you don't care about me, you even have a relative that needs help, but you're not helping. Because why? You just want to stay in a luxurious yacht. You want to fly in a private jet. You want to go to Bahamas. You want to do this. You want to do this. To what end? To what end? It is well. Well, what can we say? Thank you to the US government, at least. This one that we are seeing, let's hold it. Because I don't know, there are some that we may never see in this lifetime. But let's all be guided like politicians. Let's put the people first because they sent you there for them, not for you to go and enrich yourself. No, people sent you there to represent the people. But if you're going there is for your own self enrichment, then you have no business being there. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you, and I see you again in my next video.